Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to another video on Modern Warships. I'm the Unknown, and today we are going to be doing a massive review of the 0.96 update. Hold on, let me check. Damn, I was right. 0.96 update, Age of Annihilation. This update is more geared towards submarines and the basic combat of submarines. More on that later. For now, we're going to go over some of the changes that have been implemented in the game. Most notably, you guys noticed the port has changed to a fall theme. Not going to lie, I like it. It's definitely different. I do like the darker theme better. I'm tired of the bright themes. But yeah. So the first thing I want to take a look at is the shop and the equipment. So you guys have already seen the missiles, right? Go to missile battery. You have ASM and SLBM. So if we go to SLBM, you can see the different types of missiles we got. We have the two tier 2 missiles here. We have a couple of new tier 3 missiles. And then we have existing tier 3 missiles that were just changed. These are now only able to be used on submarines. So for the idiots out there that use the Das How with a full nuclear build, yeah, no, can't do that anymore. Sorry, Elbozo. But yeah, so that is the only thing that has changed. Oh, and we do have a new cannon. We have the, where is it? The Mark 8 Mod 1. I'm going to go double check and see if I have one of those in my inventory. I should have one of those in my inventory because I bought one and I didn't sell it yet, I don't think. So yeah, we do have it here. We will take a look at that very shortly. For now, I just want to go over all the cosmetic stuff. So we go to the avatars here, and we do have a couple of new achievements. Most notably being the win streak one that you guys have seen me live stream for. I'm going to keep gunning for this one. I really want the level 5 achievement. It looks really nice. But you have a couple of these other ones that are honestly really cool. They're harder to achieve, but once you do achieve them, it's honestly a big flex. So yeah, I do like these ones quite a lot. Now, we go to the avatars. We got a couple of new avatars. We'll go ahead and take a look at them. First, we have the one that looks like Terminator. She looks like Sarah Connor from Terminator. And then we have the Terminator dude himself, Incinerator T-1000. Damn, that's like full-on Chinese knockoff Terminator. And then we have a Chinese knockoff T-3000 or whatever that dude's name is. And we got in the battle pass, we have the Harrier, we have the reskinned and revamped MH1, I guess. A new ballistic missile, new skin, new title, Echo of the Apocalypse. Not actually not a bad name, I'm not gonna lie. We have a Tiger Shark in here. We got the premium pass skin. And then we got a couple of other good rewards. We have a new, I think this is a nuclear torpedo. And then we have another skin. And then most notably, the HMS Fearless, which we will take a look at very shortly. The new titles that have came in this update are as follows. So we have Iron Will, Pride of the Nation, Liberator, Brave Avenger, Voice of the Revolution, Guardian of Independence, the Port Philosopher, which honestly is probably the most cringiest name I've ever heard. And then we have Self-Proclaimed and Fierce. We don't have the Fall Masters titles yet, but the Fall Masters tournament is said to come out this month. And then we have the avatars. You've already seen the Battle Pass ones, so we're going to go ahead and look at the event avatars. So the first one we have is this one here. I have no idea where this one is going to come into play, but it's there. And then we have a couple of other ones. The Killer, I am currently recording a video. Maybe don't invite me yet. Okay, and then we have this one here. And I believe there is a female version of that one too, unless there was the one I just showed. But if we keep scrolling up, we do have a couple more. So here we are. We have this one here. We got this one, which honestly, I really like this one. We got this one, got this one, this one, this one. Honestly, damn, that looks, damn. We got this guy here. We got this one. I like this one too, probably my second favorite. We got this guy here, this one, and last but not least, we have this one. As for other stuff, no clue. I have no idea when they're going to come. All right, now that we got that out of the way, we can finally take a look at some of the new stuff that has been implemented into the game. Most notably, the shop stuff first. Everybody wants to see the shop items. If you guys have already watched videos on it, I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you my honest feedback about it. And we're going to start with the Mark 8 Mod 1. The same cannon on the Glasgow, only this is the Mod 1, not the Mod 2. So, this thing does a total of 15,600 damage per round. I think it's a 3 or 4 round burst. I'm not entirely sure. With a range of 12.13 kilometers and a reload of 8.4 seconds. Alright, so let's go ahead and fire it in close range right here. Let's see this. Okay, that is just absolutely terrible. I've seen dollar cannons perform better than this. Okay, let me see in farther ranges. Yeah, and somehow, some way, it still manages to hit all of the rounds. It just feels like a buckshot, but with less bullets. Well, I just dropped my phone. All right, let's see. Now that we're facing straight forward, it seems to be more accurate facing straight than to the side, meaning this is like a long snipe cannon, if you will. Honestly, a mid-ass cannon. I'm gonna sell this thing. Yeah, I'm disappointed. For the 1,000 gold this thing is priced at, yeah, I'm sorry. That's not worth it. I'm gonna go back to using my pay-to-win cannon. Alright, now we have the battleship, or the battle pass, excuse me. We're gonna go ahead and skip the battle pass so we can get all of the stuff and review it for you guys. So let's go ahead, let's just knock it out of the way, get all the stuff. There we go. Damn, the Fearless is small. What the hell? First impressions, Fearless is very freaking small. Good God. And I'm assuming the Mars EV thing is a shop item. Yes, it is. It's finally added in the shop for $5 million. Not bad. And then we have the Harrier and stuff. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this stuff one by one, starting with the ballistic missile and the torpedo. All right, before I take a look at the physical stuff, I want to take a look at the skins first. So the very first skin we have is the Cyborg Killer, and I'm not going to lie, the skin's mid. I'm sorry, it's like the most mid Battle Pass skin I've ever seen. I don't know what the devs were thinking. It's like they just took a coloring book and decided to put something together. Next, we have the Premium Pass skin. I believe it's called Living Steel or some crap like that. Yeah, Living Steel. Let's go take a look at this real quick. Oh, okay. The animation is questionable. It looks like stop motion. If it was like a smoother animation, it'd be a lot better, but needless to say, it's not bad. And then last, but certainly not least, we have the VIP skin, the one I have the most high hopes for. Oh, and yep, and I was not disappointed. The sparks animation with the fire coming out of the sides. Yeah, okay, yeah. You know what? I had high expectations. The devs delivered. You know what? I can't complain. This is honestly a very nice skin. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the very first thing, and that is the ballistic missile and the torpedo. All right, what better way to advertise the Russian stuff but on a Russian submarine? So, we have the ballistic missile here. 45,500 damage with a range of 13 kilometers and a reload of 17.5 seconds. Next, we have the nuclear torpedo, the very first Battle Pass nuclear torpedo. How about that? With a damage of 42,900, a range of 12.13, same as the, almost the same. Reload of 12.6 seconds, and an ammunition of 20. So let's go ahead and just test the damage of these real quick. Alright, so as you can see with this new ballistic missile mechanic, is the fact that you're able to fire this directly above a ship. And as you can see, those circles in there, that small circle is going to be where the ship is going to be affected the most. If you're in that tiny circle, you're getting the brunt of the AoE damage. If you're within that dotted circle, you're going to take some damage, but it's not going to be drastic. So before I go ahead and do that, let's go ahead and test the damage of this nuclear torpedo here. Let's see how much the AoE can affect that aircraft there. And it looks like that torpedo is relatively slow compared to other torpedoes. And damn, about 3,000 AoE damage on top of the 42,000. So you're going to be doing about 46. All right, now let's go ahead and test the ballistic missile. We're going to go ahead and fire it two different ways. The first way being like this. So if we fire it directly on top of the Yamato, you can see on the mini-map that the missile is heading towards the ship. A very fast missile, 66,000 damage. Now that is an aerial view of the ballistic missile. Now, I'm going to fire this missile again, and we're going to see it from the submarine's point of view. So if we switch back to the torpedo, you can see that missile is going, and it hits directly on the ship. Now, if we fire this around the ship, let's say right here, where it doesn't hit the ship, this is what happens. So as you can see, I put it next to the ship in that tiny AoE circle, and it does about a little bit less damage, but it's not entirely there yet. Now, if we were to put it somewhere like right here, as an example, where it's within the dotted circle, not a lot of damage is going to happen, but some damage will happen. So we're going to find out just how much damage. See, about 3,000, so you're only going to be taking the AoE damage, similar to what the helicopter took. Not a bad mechanic, I gotta say. I do like this, but we're gonna go ahead and do some further testing later on. So I gotta say, nuclear torpedo, I'm kind of impressed with it. And the ballistic missile, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna buy a lot of these for my Russian submarines, so I can have a full Russian build. Same with the nuclear torpedo. I'm gonna buy a lot of these for my Russian subs, because all of these dollar subs have been affected by this, and I want to make this very clear. The ballistic missiles are only able to be used on these dollar subs here, so ships like the SMX-31 have not been changed. The Ohio is the only one where you can use both ballistic missile or regular, ASM missiles, which is nice. The Ohio is probably going to be one of the best dollar torpedoes out there. All right, and next on the list is the AV-8B Harrier 2 Night Attack, the Tier 3 Harrier, and I gotta say, it looks very, very stunning in Tier 3 with the details as opposed to the Tier 2. So this thing has 11,440 health with a speed of 97 knots, an afterburner of 115.5, a maneuverability of 104, a view range of 10, an aerial visibility of 6.8, a surface visibility of 6.23, an underwater visibility of 3.12, and an aircraft reserve of 15. Alright, and it looks like this plane can hover, which is nice. I would assume that this plane can hover, considering it was like one of the first, if not the first, VTOL aircraft. And look at that. The hovering mechanism works so nice, and it looks very nice. I love that so much. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a better look at this aircraft. This thing looks very freaking nice. I love the looks of this Harrier. I remember seeing the Harrier in person at an air show, and it went into a hover like this right in front of me, did a bow like this, turned around, and then zoomed away like it was nothing. That was the most coolest thing I've ever seen in a Harrier. But let's go ahead and see the top speed of this thing. In real life, the Harrier is not able to break the sound barrier, so honestly, the speed of this is kind of justified. It is kind of accurate to how it is in person. But for now, let's go ahead and see. Is this an anti-air missile? Okay. We're going to go ahead and hover a bit. We're going to go see the burst damage of this thing. So it looks like we have 2 lock-on missiles and a guided missile, and then we have a cannon with a cooldown reload, which I don't like. But let's go ahead and see how much damage we can do. 172,000 burst. Let me go ahead and get closer so I can test the cannons a little more. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now, my question is there anything anti-sub on this Harrier? Or is it just anti-ship? And can these be used for anti-air as well? Okay, so there's no anti-sub, there's no anti-air, as far as I know. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but honestly, the Harrier being able to hover and it being able to cover both long and close range makes this thing a pretty viable strike fighter, if I do say so myself, especially with that health. It's pretty nice. And that cannon is also very freaking accurate, too. Very nice on the dev's part. I gotta say, I am impressed with the cannons on this thing. Alright, and that leaves us with just two more things, and that is the HMS Fearless and the MAH Meridian. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the helicopter first, and then we'll take a look at the Fearless. So the Meridian has a durability of 15,600, not bad. A speed of 78.58 knots, or 75.8 knots, Jesus Christ. I just woke up, give me a break. Maneuverability of 58.5, a view range of 9, an aerial visibility of 4.68, surface visibility of 4.11, and an underwater visibility of 2.41. Alright, we're going to go ahead and see the top speed of this helicopter. Honestly, I'm not expecting it to be too fast. Yeah, 500 knots, 506, not ideal. Is there anything anti-sub on this thing? There is not. That is very, very disappointing, to say the least. So what are we looking at in terms of just overall damage? Alright, we're going to find out. Alright, the burst damage is something to be impressed about. This is definitely supposed to be a brawler-type helicopter, so if you're going to be using ships like, say, the, what's it called? That weird French battle pass ship, this helicopter probably is going to be your best choice. I'm assuming that cannon's also anti-air. So, yeah. Let's also test out... Actually, we'll do that later. Moving on to the HMS Fearless. And I gotta say, right off the bat, I'm already more impressed with this thing than the 071, because the 071 has one cannon. But, compared to the San Antonio, that also has 4 missiles and 1 cannon, this thing has 4 missiles and 2 cannons. So this automatically makes this one of the best assault vessels on paper already. So, this thing has a durability of 481,000 with a speed of, get this, 25.3 knots, making this the fastest unmanned vessel in the lot. So this thing has already got a lot going for it, and I didn't even get done reviewing the stats yet. Maneuverability of 11.7, view range of 10.4, aerial visibility of 5.25, surface visibility of 4.98, underwater visibility of 3.9, and a stealth percentage of 5. Next, we have the Fearless autocannon here, which is obviously anti-sub and anti-torpedo, which is nice. It does 12,740 damage with a range of 5.63 kilometers and a reload of 4.2 seconds. Not the worst. Next, we have the UEV here with a damage of 162,500. Okay, so this is a kamikaze one off the bat. I already know. Durability of 169,000, better than the Chinese one. The speed of 32.1 knots, maneuverability of 0.8, and a view range of 8. So let's go ahead and test this in the test mode, and then we'll take it in an offline match real quick. All right, let's go ahead and launch one of these bad boys, see what we're looking at here. Okay, oh, its only capability is kamikaze. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this dude make a beeline towards this guy. Look at him, look at him. Damn, bro is going so slow, though. Like, how is he gonna, like, in an online match, right, realistically, how is Homeboy gonna make it to the ship before getting shot down when he's going that slow? Or is it because I didn't put it at 2x speed? It's probably why. We're gonna test it again. But, yep, he's slowly making his way to the kamikaze, ever so slowly. And we're almost there, almost there. Boom. Alright, let's go ahead and test that one more time. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this bad boy around. We're going to go ahead and go to 2x speed. And then we will kamikaze again. Alright. Oh yeah, it was definitely at 1x speed, because look how much faster that is. 32 knots, yeah. Alright, not bad at all. And the submarine's already dead, so that's nice. Actually, on second thought, he's still going the same speed. Okay, so this is probably the worst of the two kamikaze drones. Okay, this thing is honestly impractical. The kamikaze Ikrenoplan is better than this, and no surprise that it's Chinese. But yeah, honestly, not bad at all. I gotta say, not bad. The execution's there, but it's too slow, and honestly, it's not gonna make it to its target in time. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the HMS Fearless, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and see what we're looking at here in terms of looks. In terms of looks, I love the looks of this thing. It looks stealthy. It looks amazing, and it's very small. Is it agile, though? It's honestly very agile and very fast. Honestly, I might use the ship online quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do love the stats of this ship. 2 cannons and 4 missiles. Like, what more could you possibly want in a freaking assault ship? This thing is like an assault destroyer, if you will. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a snipe there. And then, yeah. Dude, honestly, I love the looks of this. My only complaint with this is that the cannons are, like, they're not, like, 2 in the front. It's, like, 1 in the front, 1 in the back, which is not very ideal for peeking. So this thing is more of, like, an open sniper rather than a peeking sniper, if you will. But I gotta say, the cannons there are very, 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 very nice, if I do say so myself. And this thing is very freaking quick too. Like, this thing is like just charging in. And the missile launchers, again, the missile launchers, very nice. They're not launching from the side of the ship. They all launch from the top, so the trajectory of the missile is, you know, it's there. It's very nice. It looks like my kamikaze drones just killed somebody, judging by the fact that one of my kamikaze drones is dead. I can only make the rightful assumption that one of my kamikaze drones killed a bot, which is just freaking beautiful, to say the least. Like, just wow, bro. Just wow. I love that. I love that a lot. And the battlecruiser bot is always going to be super duper mega overpowered for no freaking reason at all. But I do have a UK-based air defense, so my air defense is honestly better, to be honest, than this battlecruiser. But yeah, dude, the 2 cannons honestly helps a lot with this thing. It is honestly very nice to have this, you know, this air defense. 4 air defenses on the freaking assault ship. It's beautiful, to say the least. It's beautiful. Couldn't have asked for a better assault landing ship. Tell me how this thing is free to play, and this thing is better than the San Antonio, which is a gacha ship. Dare I say, better than the 071. Dare I say. Alright? In terms of long-range sniping, I think that the Fearless is better because it has 2 cannons. I'm sorry, I'm biased to cannons. I love my cannons. If you guys can't already tell by my cannon accuracy, yeah, I prioritize cannons quite a bit. So, you know, I think that this is definitely one of the better Battle Pass ships we have gotten in a very, very, very long time. All right, now we're going to talk about the submarine mechanic and my opinion about the submarine mechanic. And I'm also going to read you some feedback by one of the players who provides me with the best feedback, and that is Kang2828. So, the submarine mechanic, as you guys know, the submarine mechanic has changed quite a bit. And I'm not talking about every submarine, right? So, the only changes done was to the Bermuda, right? The Bermuda now has this ballistic missile here. Tege was left alone. SMX-25 was left alone. The SNLE, these things are now ballistic. The Izanami SMX-31 were not changed. 093AG now has the ballistic missiles as well. This one has not changed. This also has changed to unflareable missiles, but honestly, nothing else has changed about it. This thing has stayed the same. Stayed the same. Stayed the same. These are going to be the ones where you see the most change. Most notably being the Donskoy, where it now has 5 missiles instead of 4. Same thing with the Yuri, now has 5 missiles instead of 4. So, what has this mechanic done for submarine players? I feel like, and don't hate me for this, but I like the new submarine mechanic, and here's why. Submarines, at least now in the game, they're more realistic to use in the game now. They're more accurate to what an actual submarine is. In real life, a submarine doesn't camp under you, spam torpedoes, and spam, underwater capable missiles. A real submarine, most notably being the USS Ohio and the Donskoy, these are the types of subs that are like, these things will stay underwater and at long ranges fire these ballistic missiles to hit a target. And I gotta say, this mechanic that has been implemented into the game has made it so sub-users have to use some level of skill in timing to get these ballistic missiles to hit a moving target. That in itself does take some skill, so now sub-users are forced to use skills when it comes to subbing. And that's if you use these subs. Obviously, you're still going to have those idiots that use the Tege and they're going to spam and camp under you and stuff. This sub takes no skill to use. I would much rather use a Donskoy or Ohio, right? Because these things are more accurate to what they are in person. And I love that a lot. I think that the change was necessary, and it now gives sub-users, it forces them to use skills when using these subs, as opposed to before where there really was no skill. Now, with that said, right, carrier players and battleship players are going to have a hard time in long ranges and stuff. But here's the caveat to that. The caveat is the weakness of these subs using these ballistic missiles is close range. You can't use these things in close range. They're only far range missiles. So they can easily be countered. Just charge a sub and the sub is useless now. That is honestly a very nice mechanic and it can be easily countered, but one wrong move and you're toast. Now, according to Kang2828, he says, "Hello, Unknown. Do you think you could pass this feedback to the devs?" And here's what he had to say. "The addition of the new SLBM mechanic and related to rebalancing of most submarines is very welcome. However, there is still a few disappointing aspects about submarines' balance as the current alpha test. The USS Ohio is severely lacking compared to the Dmitry Donskoy, which has the same 5x unlocked SLBMs and 2x torpedoes. The Ohio's health is almost 100,000 less. If we compare that 352,500 to 200, yeah, that's over 500. It's over 100,000 actually. Okay, let's see. Where would we leave off? While its speed is the same and the oxygen capacity is lower, you strongly believe that the Ohio needs a buff. I agree with you. By increasing its health and oxygen to be on par with Donskoy, or increasing its health by up to around 450,000 with a speed of 17 to 18 knots. Honestly, that's pretty justified. The District of Columbia noticeably has weaker stats than the JSS Izanami, also a market submarine with similar firepower, and the 096, a shop submarine with similar firepower. While its locked ASM now ignores countermeasures and unlocked torpedoes have a high DPM, this isn't enough to overcome its inferior stats. That is honestly pretty true. The lower health is offset by a higher oxygen capacity, but the speed disadvantage is too significant. You strongly believe it needs a buff either by increasing its speed to 20 knots or by changing one of its unlocked SLBM ASM slots into a 2x slot. Honestly, that'd be pretty rad. The CN Type 100 is severely lacking compared to the Donskoy, even the Ohio, because it only has 2 SLBMs. As a gold ship, it should be slightly superior or at least have distinguishing feature from dollar ships. And I will say, I do agree with that because it takes a lot longer to grind for gold than it does for dollars. So that that is pretty justified. By changing the 1x slot to a 1x ASM to SLBM, giving it a total of 4. Oh, okay, so he wants the same thing to the Ohio where it can use both missiles, but on the Type 100 where it can also use both. And it looks like the devs did do that. Oh no, it only has 2 slots that do that. He wants all 4 slots to be like that. The SNLE is also somewhat lacking. It has a 3-round clip type. Yeah, I do agree. The SNLE, I don't like the fact that you have to sit there and press and hold to fire all of its missiles. I really don't like that at all. There's a similar firepower to a market submarine Izanami or a submarine 096, but compared to them, SNLE's health and speed are lower and the oxygen capacity is only similar. This is not appropriate because it's a gadget submarine. Yeah, it's a pay-to-win submarine. This thing should be slightly better than the free-to-play ones. I do agree with that. I would say the health needs to be buffed to 450 to 460,000 and increasing the oxygen capacity to 200 to 220 to 230. If it's not possible to buff the submarines that were compared above with the 096, then I think a nerf for the 096 is necessary. It's not appropriate for a shop ship to be on par or superior to a market or gacha ship. I 100% agree with that. There is no way this thing can do better than this or this, right? Or even this. I think that either those things need a buff or these things need a nerf. So, Kang, I 100% agree with you. Reducing the 096's speed to 17 to 18 knots would be a good change. Even with the nerf, it would still be a viable shop submarine thanks to its powerful armament. That is some valid-ass feedback. I gotta say, for a regular player who knows what they're doing, this dude provides some of the best feedback I've ever seen in my videos. And I honestly enjoy reading his feedback and commenting on his feedback. So I did say that I would, read his feedback in this update review, and I did that. With that said, obviously there are still some changes that are left to be desired, but overall, I would say this update is a win in my book. Submarines are now, somewhat useful in terms of long-range combat, and it takes some skill to use them. I do like that. HMS Fearless, flawless. I love the ship. It is very nice. The Harrier, I'm not really a carrier main, so I can't really speak on it, but I do like it. Same thing with the kamikaze thing. I don't like it. The Chinese one is far superior. I'm sorry. This thing is just inferior to the Chinese one. I didn't even upgrade the Chinese one because I don't like it so much. But other than that, the update as a whole, very nice. Let me know you guys' feedback in the comments below. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments. And that is going to be all for today. Peace out.